He's making you hods of cash. Keep him on the phone. Give him every tool you can. Fine, give him some juniors to train up along the way in his way of doing it, to pass on his his craft, as it were.
Yeah.
But you don't want to sat in meetings with HR.
There's a subject I want to touch on with you that I've seen in the market a lot, and it's, I've addressed it in some of our previous videos, and it's probably a word I've made up myself, but juniorization that goes on in the market where, we would have someone maybe like yourself who's got 20 years experience, they've been in the role for, let's say, 10, 15 years, they've become, I guess, a piece of the furniture to the company's point of view. They've got a wealth of experience, they know the ins and outs of how things go, and they probably take things for granted with what they know. And then they've, either moved on or been asked to move on, and they're replaced with someone who has maybe 2 to 3 years worth of sales experience going into a strategic position. My argument is always not always good salespeople make good management. And I think we're seeing it forced so often in a lot of our industry in terms of foreign exchange, and particularly deliverable foreign exchange. Have you seen similar things yourself along the way, or how does that seem for you?
In countless roles, and before FX, it was private equity, and I used to work for HSBC before that. And you would typically tend to see the best performer in a sales, in a revenue generating role, be it a dealer or a sales role, be promoted into something which was a lot more organisational, a lot more strategic. He's making you hods of cash. Keep him on the phone. Give him every tool you can. Fine, give him some juniors to train up along the way in his way of doing it, to pass on his his craft, as it were.
Yeah.
But you don't want to sat in meetings with HR. We don't want to sat in meetings with compliance. No one wants to sit in a meeting with compliance. But you don't want to sat in meetings. You want him doing his job and being paid appropriately as well.
Yeah.
The juniorization of things is something which, as I said, there are some grey hairs in this industry, myself included, who have been here basically since day dot. And if you have been in the same shop for 12, 15, 17 years, then there's going to be young, hungry people after you looking at your role saying, I can do that.
I think that's my challenge now is are people buying into ambition over experience now? Do they want that energy injected into their floor more than they want the actual talent and knowledge injected into that floor?
Yeah, I think there's always a danger in that, in so much that experience goes a long way in these markets. Ambition and energy will also go a long way as well, and I think that every business has to have a balance of that. If you have people in specific roles who have been sat, and this is every business's individual decision based on their own kind of KPIs, and whether something has gone stale, then a change maybe has to be made. But a wholesale withdrawal of, as we have seen, I know in certain places, a wholesale withdrawal of almost a cohort who have been there for 10 or 12 years seems remarkably short-sighted, let's put it that way.